What's going on, DMG Clan? A content creator on YouTube said this thing was the Odin 2 killer. So we're gonna jump in and find out the truth behind the AyaNeo Next Lite. The AyaNeo Next Lite pre-ordered at $299 for the first 100 orders and seemed to only be in blue. Now $349 is by far the craziest, cheapest Windows-based handheld that I have ever owned. This device was originally supposed to release with Holo ISO, but right now you can't even gain access to the firmware on their site as they have it locked for whatever reason to be able to flash it. So for now, we get to enjoy the Windows operating system, which I have no quirks about as I like Windows and I like Linux, so this was not a bad experience whatsoever. To start off here, we have the unboxing experience. Let's unwrap this thing from its plastic casing. Now, this company has one motto, it appears. Real gamers, no gamers. There it is, the Odin 2 killer, said one of the content creators who didn't even know what an Odin 2 was. No, really, they answered my comment about this thing and said they didn't know what an Odin 2 was. The joysticks feel nice, but the device itself, holy shmoly, it is heavy. Not sure of the exact weight here, but it is heavier than the Rogue Ally you all know I love. So I started it up while I was checking out everything else in here, as there were more boxes inside the bigger box. The one box came with a bunch of adapters for different plugs for all over the world, plus 2 USB-C dongles so that we can actually attach external SD cards or whatever kind of USB we want to, because this device does not have an SD card slot. Next, we have a charging brick at 65 watts and the cord itself. It does charge up pretty quick. I could charge it up in about an hour and a half, and that's a full charge. Now, the Windows experience, however, was a generic Windows experience to say the least, but after it was all set up and updated and everything, I was able to jump right in. That's Windows for you. Now, what about the main reason we're all here? What can this thing do? I started off with one of my favorite games, Fallout 4. It ran amazingly well. Even with those big bezels on the screen, the quality looked great to me. Skyrim was next. It too was amazing. It was an amazing experience, especially after I finally caught up to kill that elk. Next was emulation. I quickly downloaded EmuDeck and set it up the way I like it, and was able to jump into Switch, which ran flawless. Well, at least Mario Kart did, at least so far. I played some Nintendo 3DS, and no issues with anything there except for the window size. That was, I think, an issue with the configuration of EmuDeck. Then some PS2, of course. I had to share some God of War gameplay. Who doesn't love that? A million times. And just the navigation itself. It was all just a great experience bumping in and out of emulation. So is this device really the most powerful device when it comes to price versus performance? And can it beat out the Odin 2 in that regard? I mean, there's so many more aspects I could have covered about the battery life, but the battery on this device does depend on what you play a lot. Whereas I could play Nintendo Switch or Game Pass stream games on my Odin 2 for nearly 2 hours and still have 50% battery left. I'll never get rid of my Odin 2. That is, until maybe the Odin 3 impresses me, of course. But honestly, is this the Odin 2 killer? Think not. My Odin 2 can even stream play via Game Pass, the 2 games I love being Fallout 4 and Skyrim, plus the setup process for getting things like Yuzu set up and running and playing on the Odin 2 is just so much more straightforward to me. Even though I have lots of experience setting up emulation on devices like the Steam Deck, the Rogue Ally, and my desktop, I'll let you gamers decide if this is really the next best thing next to the Odin 2. Leave your comments below, as what I really think is that this is the Steam Deck killer. Sorry, Steam Deck lovers, but you all know what my thoughts are on that thing. If you like mobile content like this and straight to the point reviews, then subscribe to the channel or become a member to help the channel grow, as there's so many perks to be had by being a DMG Clan member.